The house was too quiet. I remember standing in the middle of my large, empty kitchen, the hum of the stainless steel refrigerator the only sound. The marble floors were cold under my bare feet. I had everything I thought I wanted: a beautiful home, financial freedom, the respect of my peers. But in that silence, a single, terrifying thought echoed. My daughter did this to me, and I let her. My name is Anya. For most of my life, I was a single mother. My world was my daughter, Priya. We lived modestly. I worked double shifts as a nurse to give her the best education, the occasional new dress, the little extras. Our home was small, but it was filled with laughter and the smell of our favorite meals. Priya was my shadow, my confidant. She would tell me everything about her friends, her dreams, her fears. I thought our bond was unbreakable. Everything changed when I turned 50. A small business I had invested in years earlier, almost as a joke, was bought out by a large corporation. Overnight, I was wealthy. It was a surreal feeling. The first thing I did was pay off all our debts. Then I bought us a new house, the one with the marble floors. I wanted to give Priya the security I never had. I paid for her wedding, a beautiful, lavish affair. I set up a trust fund for her and her husband, Rohan. I truly believed I was building a beautiful future for our family. But slowly, the betrayal came on an ordinary Tuesday. Priya and Rohan came over for dinner. Priya was unusually affectionate, helping me in the kitchen, complimenting me. Over dessert, she took my hand. "Mom, Rohan and I have been thinking. You're not getting any younger, and managing all these assets must be so stressful. We thought it would be safer, more practical, if you signed everything over to us. We'll manage it all, and of course, you'll always be taken care of." She made it sound so reasonable, like she was offering to help me carry groceries. I felt a cold knot tighten in my stomach. This wasn't about helping me. This was about taking control. The daughter I had raised was looking at me not with love, but with calculation. I told them I needed to think about it, my voice barely a whisper. That night, the foundation of my world cracked. The thinking about it period became a slow, suffocating pressure. The gentle suggestions turned into persistent arguments. Priya would call and say, "Mom, you're being emotional. We're just trying to protect what you built." Rohan started sending me emails with complex financial documents, pressuring me to meet with their lawyer. The warmth was gone from their visits. They felt like business meetings. The loneliness was the hardest part. I started eating my meals alone in that big kitchen. The clink of my cutlery the only company. I found old receipts from when Priya was a child, for a cheap ice cream, for a school textbook, and I would just hold them, mourning the simplicity we had lost. One afternoon, I overheard Priya talking to Rohan on the phone in the other room. She didn't know I was home. "She's just being stubborn," she said, her voice laced with frustration. "It's not like she has anyone else. She'll come around." That sentence, "she doesn't have anyone else," hit me with the force of a physical blow. She was counting on my isolation. She was cornering me emotionally, and it was working. I felt my own spirit shrinking, becoming smaller to fit into the box she was designing for me. A week later, I was looking for an old photo album in my home office. As I pulled a heavy box down from the closet, a manila folder I had never seen before fluttered to the floor. It was from Rohan's briefcase. He must have left it after their last meeting. Curious, I opened it. Inside were not just financial papers. There were printed emails. As my eyes scanned the words, my blood ran cold. They were between Priya and Rohan discussing me. The language was cold, clinical. They referred to my assets as the portfolio. They discussed the liability of my getting older. And then, I saw the sentence that changed everything. "Once everything is in our name, we can finally start planning the move to Singapore. We can't let sentimentality delay our future." I sank into my chair, the papers trembling in my hand. This wasn't just about greed. This was a planned exit. The life I thought we were building together was a lie. The power in the room shifted in that moment. They thought I was in the dark, but now, I had the light. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. A strange, calm resolve settled over me. I made a cup of tea and sat at my desk. I realized that my response needed to be as strategic and composed as their plan had been. First, I quietly made an appointment with my own lawyer, a trusted woman who had known me for years. I showed her the documents. Next, I began to quietly untangle my finances. I changed all my passwords. I moved certain funds into new private accounts. I contacted a financial advisor and started a new, ironclad will, leaving the majority of my wealth to a charitable foundation for nurses' education, with a small, fixed trust for Priya, not as a punishment, but as a boundary. Every action I took was quiet, lawful, and dignified. I was no longer the vulnerable mother they thought I was. I was the woman who had built a life from nothing, and I was rebuilding it once more. They came over the following Sunday, expecting my answer. Priya started her usual script. "Mum, we've booked an appointment with the lawyer for Tuesday. It's time." I looked at her, my expression calm. I slid a single piece of paper across the glass table. It was a copy of the first page of my new will. "I've made my decision," I said, my voice steady. "I have ensured my legacy will support a cause I believe in, and I have secured my own future." Priya's face went from confusion to shock, then to cold anger. "You're giving our money away? To strangers?" she hissed. Rohan stood up, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. I remained seated. "It was never your money, Priya," I said softly. "It was my life, and you tried to take it from me." The realization that their plan had failed, that I was not the pawn they believed, dawned on their faces. There was no dramatic scene, just the deafening silence of a strategy meeting its end. That was 6 months ago. Priya and I do not speak now. The silence in the house is still there, but it no longer feels like loneliness. It feels like peace. I sold the big house and moved into a cozy apartment. I've reconnected with old friends and have started volunteering. The pain of my daughter's betrayal is a dull ache that I carry, but it no longer defines me. I learned that wealth doesn't change who you are. It reveals who people are, sometimes even those you love the most. I had to lose the illusion of a daughter to find my own strength again. If this real-life story resonated with you, please share your thoughts in the comments. Your support means the world. Subscribe for more calm stories about life, family, and finding peace.